Greetings and welcome, viewers. Before starting today's program, my mom will be initiating the 11th episode of Sai Talks with an important quote. Over to you, Mom.
Sai brother Sam, Dr. Sam, Sam Sandwich, full name Samuel, right? So, so glad you are able to create some time for us today. We have been attending your satsangs and your guest speaker talks all the time. Everyone knows you. Today we got an opportunity to get some time and talk to you one on one. It's so fortunate, and it's all Swami's plan, as you know. And every time when we start the interview, I will read a quote for especially keeping the guest speaker in my mind and Swami, who gives us all this. I think it is his message. So I'm going to read it out. So Sairam, thank you once again for creating time for us, brother. Today's quote is cultivate that attitude of oneness between men of all creeds, all countries, and all continents. I think this is appropriately, I think, framed in such a way that suits today's guest speaker's thoughts and Swami's teachings all together in one small quote. It is so profound. I'm so glad I'm able to read this quote for you, Sai. And now I hand over the mic to you and then to Dr. Sam. Thank you once again, brother, for creating time. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, that was a very wonderful quote, Mom. Thank you so much for reading that. So thank you all for joining us on the 11th episode of Sai Talks. Today we have with us Dr. Samuel H. Sandweiss, MD, who is a practicing psychiatrist for over 40 years and is currently living in San Diego, California. He has been a medical director of a psychiatric clinic and has taught at the University of California, San Diego School of Medicine in the position of assistant clinical professor in the Department of Psychiatry. He has been a consultant to the dialysis and kidney transplantation program at the University of California, San Diego School of Medicine, and has consulted with geriatric programs and with hospice. Dr. Sandweiss has authored 3 books about Sri Sathya Sai Baba, such as Sai Baba, The Holy Man and the Psychiatrist, Spirit and the Mind, and With Love, Man is God. He and his wife, Sharon, have hosted a Sai Baba Center in their home for 47 years, and they oversee a Birthday Publishing Company, which publishes books and video material about Sai Baba. Sam was the chief guest at the Sri Sathya Sai University Convocation in the year 2009 at Puttaparthi. His wife, Sharon Sandweiss, taught English in high school, and together with Sam raised 4 lovely daughters. The family has learned much about raising a family from their contact with Swami, and Sharon and Sam have hosted a Sai Center in their home for 47 years. Sharon has written a number of Sai articles, has been a young adult regional advisor, edited the Sai Children's newsletter for years, and has spoken before Swami and Prashanthi Noyam during Ladies' Day 2009. With that, I would like to thank you, Dr. Sandweiss, for joining us today.
Thank you. And I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Dr. Sandweiss. We're so happy to have you. And, we'll hop into the first question for today. Could you please share a few memorable experiences from your childhood and medical school years that played a significant role in shaping who you are today? What initially inspired you to pursue a career in psychiatry?
Okay, well, that's a good question. I think that when I was born, and I'm now 89 years old, so that's a long time ago, and I'm very happy to meet with young adults. I think that they're going to be the leaders of the next generation, and at a time when Swami is bringing unity throughout the entire world. At this stage, when I say that to fellow devotees or just people that are friends of ours, they think that I'm a bit loony or not balanced correctly, because it looks like the world is splitting up and breaking into pieces. But I feel very strongly, and Swami has written about it, that by the middle of the 2030s, there's going to be unity in the world. and that all the religions will recognize their brothers and sisters under the fatherhood of an expanding love, evidently. This is Swami's basic form. It's an expanding love that has created all the religions and all the peoples and everything that we see and do. So that he tells us that when we look outside, we shouldn't look out from the place of duality where we see separation and differences between people, but that we should see that there's a oneness, an underlying oneness. Now that's very hard for people to grasp, this underlying oneness. It's easier to see the diversity because we live in diversity, we live in differences. People look different than ourselves and we look different than each other. But Swami says that there is an underlying unity, that if you say I and I say I and they say I, everybody says I, that has a meaning. It means that beneath all the diversity, there is a unity. And it's harder to see that unity than it is to see the diversity. It's easier to see the diversity and be angry with one another than to see the unity and to see the love that created all of creation and beyond, all of creation and beyond. So when I was first born, that was 89 years ago, my father brought me to his ear and said, Samuel, because he had named me after his father, you're going to be a doctor. Now, that's the first I heard of it, because I hadn't heard of anything by that time. But that's the first I heard of it. And luckily for me, I was able to do it, that I was able to become a doctor. And everybody is going to be career-oriented and marriage-oriented and thinking about what's next in life. And are they going to be able to make, to live up to the expectations of parents and siblings and others in the world, their friends. But there's a way of doing it. Swami tells us very clearly that there's a way of doing this. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, because your mother read a very beautiful quote by Swami, which said that all peoples are one, all religions are one. That's what it meant. It meant that everything is one, and it comes from a deep love, a compassion for people and for places and things. Everything is an expression of his love. And in 1983, Swami gave me an extraordinary miracle. A patient that I'd been treating for 6 years. A patient that I'd been treating for 6 years. So I knew everything about her. In and out of hospitals, in and out of locked wards, where she would have to be protected because of her own suicidality. That this person, all of a sudden, out of the blue, 6 years into treatment, began speaking Sanskrit out of the blue. What does that mean? What does it mean? Actually, for me, it was a sign of the way the rishis received the Vedas. They weren't received by hearing somebody just talk about what they had learned in life. They were a direct emanation from divinity, from God, in the mantra form, in the form where it was like a sutra, where a mantra holds within it the capacity to change a person from one level of consciousness to another. It has that potential, that power. And when I asked Swami, was this pure Sanskrit? Because it was a number of languages. I knew it was a number of languages. It was Sanskrit, it was Pali. What the Buddhists, their literature is written in the Pali canons. So it was it was Pali, it was Prakrit, it was Sanskrit, it was classical Sanskrit, it was Vedic Sanskrit. It was Sanskrit that could be made into a language and be used as a way of communicating with one another. But that Sanskrit wasn't pure Sanskrit. The Sanskrit that can be understood by the mind is a number of levels reduced from pure Sanskrit, from the power of having the power to change a person's consciousness just by chanting it. So I remember that I thought that I was watching how the Vedic scholars, the sages and the saints, were able to receive mantras that they didn't understand even. Mantras that had deep meaning that they couldn't even understand, or the capacity to change a person's consciousness that they didn't understand. Many of them could understand it because they were the Vedic scholars. They were able to receive these messages. And that's what I was seeing firsthand, that a patient that knew nothing about Sanskrit, very little about India, all of a sudden was able to receive Sanskrit words, Buddhist words, Tibetan words, words in different languages, mantras, actual mantras that were in paragraph form. It was extraordinary to see that happen. And if I would try to tell it to other people, or even try to say during many of the times I was asked to speak in front of professional crowds, that I had a patient that had something like this, they would reduce it into almost nothingness, which of course it came from nothingness. It came from Advaitic oneness. It came from the Buddhist idea of Advaita is emptiness, the idea of being empty, that we are not a name and a form where there's a particular place and form that we've taken shape in, but we are actually part of an expanding love. That's what Swami is teaching us. We're not just individuals, people identified as separate names and separate forms. We're not that. Although it's very hard to understand that, and it's very hard to accept that. If I told people that that's who we are, that we're actually spirit, not form. We're actually non-form. We're every place at all times. Who can believe that? If you really think about it, who can actually believe that? It's something that you cannot believe. No wonder I would be socked on the nose many times. And people have to develop the power of forbearance, of the ability to stand the ups and downs of life. That's what we're here to learn. That's what a psychiatrist learns. I spent over 40 years dealing with patients that would tell me the saddest and most difficult kinds of problems that one can think of. And I would have to learn to keep my balance and keep my sensitivities, keep my steadiness throughout, or I wouldn't be able to think, because you can be broken up into pieces by the sadness and pain and suffering of people. So you have to be very careful. And Swami has told us that if we can't deal with it, we have to run away from bad company, because there are things, and he'll test us. We'll think that we're big deals and that we know how to deal with the difficulties, but he'll test us and he'll see, well, can you handle this? For instance, my computer broke down and I've been running around like crazy trying to fix it, because I had an invitation to speak with you today. And that would mean that I would have the invitation to speak to a lot of lovely young adults because they're going to be inheriting the world. And I wanted to have a nice computer to do it. But as much as I've used the computer for many Zoom calls, I've dealt with our center activities, which now reach all over the U.S. and Mexico and to Mexico City. So I've had many, many Zoom calls there. I deal with another group of people that deal with just unity, the idea of learning something about unity, not telling somebody that they're not right or they're wrong or this or that, that they're bad because they believe something, not that. We just want to say as much as we know about Swami's words and help people understand that unity is very, very important. That's the way I wanted to start this meeting. I wanted to show 4 little snippets, 4 little videos of Swami talking about the importance of unity. And where can we find this unity? Can we find it inside of you and me? Because he said the most important way of finding unity is unity and harmony between thought, word, and deed. That's the first place. Harmony between thought, word, and deed. So in your question, what was it that Swami said? What was it that Swami is teaching us as far as we understand? That's as far as I can understand, that unity is very, very important. Somebody in our group took a look at the last 10 years of Swami's speeches, Sathya Sai talks, Sathya Sai speaks. And there, the topic of unity was the most frequently talked about item of all issues, spiritual issues that we can think about. By tenfold or more, his focus on and his teachings about the importance of unity, the importance of becoming one with each other. Here we had, while he was alive and with us, where he could show us how to do it, that his love was so great that it could bring people of all different discord, all different kinds of ideas, all different kinds of shapes and forms. He could bring them together. In fact, one day in the 1970s, this happened in 1970, somebody from the largest hospital in Copenhagen, Denmark, wrote me and said he wanted to come to see Swami. Could he come with me? And of course, at that time, I knew very little about Swami's teaching. Even now, I know very little about Swami's teaching. Just with the idea that we have to incorporate and live it the best we can. We have to understand what he has to say, and we have to imbibe it and think about it and make it alive in our lives. Make it alive in our lives. Whatever way we can do, that's the task that he gives us. That we think about unity, we think about oneness, we look out at the world and understand that this is an expression of Swami's love. And that for people that are capable, he says this is the main task of the Sai organization. For people that are capable, they can begin to see the love that created all of this. It's not easy to see that love. It's easier to see the diversity, the breaking up into pieces, and the picking a side. One side, I like one side, I like the way this person thinks, I don't like the way that person thinks. And because of that, we break into pieces. But Swami tells us that there's a level of watching the external world. There's a way of watching it where we see the love. We see what created it, his love. And he's not a person. He's not somebody with a name and a form. He's everything. He's every place at all times. And he said that to me, he said that to other people. I remember a story from Dr. Hislop. Dr. Hislop was a great devotee of Swami's, and from an early age began to travel around the world to be with advanced spiritual people who spoke about spiritual items. So he was interested in that as a teenager. As a young adult, he was interested in that. And he would make money because it was easy for him to make money, evidently. I don't know how he could do such a thing, but he was able to do that. And then he would take his money and he would go travel. He spent a lot of time in different parts of the world. And one time he told me that I asked him, Swami or Jack, and this was when Jack had tubes in his nose and was close to death. People in the area began to join together and to help Jack during this time. I remember that he received a packet of vibhuti from Swami at this time, and I put it on his chest. And his wife, who was having problems with memory, she was having early Alzheimer's. And she had difficulty understanding, but she saw me putting this vibhuti on Jack's chest, and she stopped me and she said, "That's very devotional. That's very devotional." So she could tell, no matter where she was, when she was, how she was, she could tell when somebody was being sweet with another person, nice with another person. I remember coming to him one day and I said, "Jack, did you see Swami today?" Because he had the ability to see Swami even in the US. He could see Swami with devotees and even with other people. And he said, "Sam, it's not so important to see Swami all the time. But what is important is not to dip your hand in the stream of karma. Don't dip your hand in the stream of karma. Be very, very careful. Very, very careful, because it can catch you very quickly, and it can grab you and hold you straight and stiff. You can't move from it." And I wanted to show how Swami had said this. He had written his students who are of the age where they're interested in their careers and in marriage. They're interested in things like this. And that's a function of duality. So he had to speak to people who were in duality and to like duality, to love duality, because that's a part of Swami. And how to move into God consciousness, Brahmananda, into the Ananda, the bliss of being fully engaged and fully merged into Brahman. And so he began writing his students, and he told them, it's not so important to reach for divinity, to reach for God consciousness all the time. What's important for you is not to let yourself be caught by bondage, to recognize what bondage is. When you're angry with somebody, when you dislike what they say, when you don't like a color or a form or some kind of food or whatever it is, that there's something about it that you have to learn to like and love. Like the story that Swami tells a lot about Jesus coming with some of his disciples and coming upon a dead dog in the road. Dead dog with flies all over it. And he came over, and his disciples were complaining about how the dog looked so messy and dirty and dead. And Jesus said, "What nice teeth, what beautiful teeth." He must have had somebody that loved him very much. He must have had somebody who had compassion for him and loved him. What a beautiful dog. to have such pretty teeth. Why would Swami say something like that? Now, the only time that I was in an interview with Swami was in the 1970s. I first met Swami in 1972. That's the first time I came to see him, and I'll talk a little bit about that because he had 4 major miracles that happened to me that were very, very powerful, and changed my life completely in seconds. Now, it can take a long time for some people. It takes a long time before they break and they finally transform. And some people can do it very quickly. Some people do it very, very quickly, and then try to help others on the path as far as they can go, as much as they can go. But Swami tells us that he likes those people that try to teach either others on the path how to say something about their own life or the life of other people that they know, that helps them overcome hurdles and get over, not to think about merging into Brahman all the time, but to get over the bondage, the being caught by the bondage, that you have to free yourself from bondage. That's what's important. It's very, very important. And so this was a time when Swami had me in for an interview with my friend who came from Copenhagen. He was the chairman of the Department of Pediatrics at this hospital. And he was there, but the room was filled. And Swami spoke about it. And then Bhagavantam, you may know Bhagavantam, who was a...
Yes, he was also a
physicist.
translator of Swami at one point too, right?
That's right. He was the translator of Swami's, and he was a physicist. One of the best physicists in India. He was an advisor to the government, and was highly thought of. He came to the door, and Swami said, "No, Sandweiss is here, and he'll interpret." And that just made me have a cold sweat. I was very, very nervous over that. Why would he say something like that? I just had learned about him. Now I had known him, and I'd written my first book about him. That took me about 3 years. The second book took me about 9 years to write. But Swami said, Sandweiss is here. And that's when I knew that I was going to be some kind of interpreter. But what did I know? I didn't know Telugu, I didn't know Sanskrit, and I didn't know spiritual teachings. So I broke into a cold sweat. But anyway, Swami made it easy. He just spoke beautifully and in words where everybody could understand. The person that was caught in bondage, the person that was thinking about career, thinking about family life, thinking about how to deal with children, thinking about their parents. And Swami always spoke nicely about mothers and fathers, that the mother had such pure love and was an expression of Swami's love. They brought the person into life. Whether you have a good mother or a bad mother or whatever we think about our mother, that we have to have this kind of thought, expansion of thought, where we see that somebody created that mother, and that mother is created for some reason. Swami has told us that sometimes a difficult mother is put into a family so that the person will realize to look for Swami even more strongly. Because when you see something that you don't like, you look for its opposite. Many times, though, we find the same person that we dislike and marry that person. But we have to learn how not to do that. And how, once we do that, once we're caught, how to deal with bondage the way Swami would want us to deal with bondage. because he'll want us to do it over and over and over again. For instance, I took a man to see Swami who was crippled from birth, just about from birth. Of course, he was a good swimmer. And then he had a swimming accident and became paralyzed. And I didn't want to take him to India, but he talked me into it. And he said that Swami would come to him right from the stage. We ended in Dharmakshatra, the ashram of Swamis in Bombay.
Yeah.
And at that point, Swami did come out and went directly to Peter and materialized something for Peter. And then he came over and walked past me, and I was crying at that time, just crying to see how beautiful Swami was with devotees that need it, that need him. All of us need him. We just don't realize how much we need him because we recognize only during certain times of pain and suffering that we need him so much. We need his love so much. But Swami began this interview saying things that I had heard him say before, but now with a different meaning to me. He said that we are three people: the one we think we are, which is the body; the one that other people think we are, which is the mind; and the one we really are, with the ocean. He said that when we believe that we're the body, we just see one drop in the ocean. We just see one drop. That's how big we are compared to the entire universe. All the stars and all the constellations and all the beauty of it held together. How is it held together? Only by Swami's love, only by the power of his love. In one of the messages that he gave me, because here's this young lady who began speaking Sanskrit after 6 years of treatment. She began speaking Sanskrit, and I could see the rishis receiving Sanskrit. What do they know? They received the beautiful Sanskrit about Narayan and about Shiva and about all the great gods and goddesses. And Brahmin, who is all places at all times. All places at all times. Who of us can understand and have expanded knowledge where we understand that there can be God, divinity, all Buddhas, Swami? The first message that Swami gave me was, it said astika, which means believer. If you believe in what Swami is telling us, you're one of his believers. You're one of his students. Believer. Brahmapura, the one who has God living inside. The one who is the embodiment of divinity. Astika. Brahmapura, or what was it? It was Brahmapura. Brahmapura. The second line said, I am Parabrahman. Asmi aham Parabrahman. I started talking to a Sanskrit scholar from the university, San Diego University here. He was a professor, and he grew up in Nepal, and his father taught Sanskrit, and he had Sanskrit throughout his life, and then got his undergraduate and graduate degrees in Germany, and came to San Diego University as a professor. He came as an assistant professor, and he rose to a professorship. And he was saying that the correct way of saying this in the books and by people, by the sages, is aham brahmasmi. Aham brahmasmi. I am Brahman. I am the same as Brahman. But Swami tells us, don't try to hold on to that. First, find out how to get rid of bondage, the pain and suffering that you hold on to. Get rid of that. Learn how to do it. One time, Phyllis Crystal was in an airplane that was hijacked by gangsters, mean people. And she said, Swami, in her own heart, she said, Swami, I can't love these people. I want to run away from these people. They're so mean. Only you have the love that can cross over and love these people. I want to give this to you. You're the only person that I know that can do this. I give this to you, Swami, and you give the love to them. You give their love to them. And she was saved from the trip, from the kidnapping. The plane settled down, landed, and she was saved. So the first thing is that we're no bigger than a drop. That we're just a drop in the ocean. If people see us as a mind, that's like a flake of froth on the ocean. At the beginning of the ocean and the land, a little flake of froth. That's what the ocean is. But you're not the flake. You're not the drop. You're not the flake of froth. You're the ocean. That's what he said. You're the ocean. And I was able to say this. What did I know? How could I know such a thing, that I'm the ocean? But that we should not lose sight of that. We're not the drop. We're not the froth. We're the ocean. We're the ocean. And then he said, see, everybody looks different. Everybody has a different name and a form. She says her name, she says her name, you say your name, I say my name, and I look like I'm different, and they're different from you, and they're different from us. But they all say I. If you ask, who are you really? They say I. Know that I. But Swami says, go deeper than the I. That I has to break up the sense that you're separate and different. When there's an I, there is a you. There is the duality, the I and the you. He says, you have to go beyond duality. You've got to go to unity thinking. You have to see only goodness. Now that's very, very hard to do, to see only goodness. So the best we can do is look at the pain of bondage, recognize it, and try to break hold of from getting away from the bondage. That's what Swami wants us to do, get away from bondage.
That's so true.
So although he knows that we all have this sense of I, we have to even go beyond that, beyond the feeling that we're an individual I with a form and a name and an actual substance. In all of the substances, we're a substance. We look different than another person, but we're not. Deeply inside us, and the mind has to expand to a very great degree, deeply inside us. We have to understand that we're every place at all times. We are the ocean. Now that's something that you cannot understand from the mind. The mind can't understand that. So Swami said, be with me, just stay with me. Think about me. Use me as a stepping stone. You're not going to be able to do this yourself. There will be some people that can do it themselves. Buddha did it himself. He was able to find the infinite within the diversity, the unity in the diversity. He was able to see that. He was able to come to that. But there were many stories where he showed his anger and was not able to contain his anger. He would leave his devotees for months because he was upset with them. And he would come back finally and come back. And finally, he broke through. He broke through. And he was so happy to break through. He could feel it when he broke through. And he could become one with everything. That is a very difficult thing to happen, for any of us to happen. We should have it in our mind that we can do this. We have to go beyond I and you, beyond the two. And we have to go into only one thinking, only oneness thinking. We have to be so broad in our thinking that we see only the white teeth of the dog. We see nothing else. We have to see just him, just his love all over. That's all he sees, just his love. That's something great.
Yeah, that's so true. And one question that came to my mind is, you've written 3 books on Swami, and especially in the 1970s itself, and especially the one, The Holy Man and the Psychiatrist, that a lot of people outside of India as well as within India came to Swami's fold mainly because of your book, as well as Howard Murfitt's and John Hislop's books. But yours is also one of the main ones for why a lot of people got into Swami's fold, like that book. So could you kind of touch on that journey of what prompted you to write it, and kind of the journey of writing it and all that?
Okay, I'll start by being in high school. I remember that in high school, I wondered whether in my career, in my development, because I knew I was going to become a doctor by that time. I knew it very early on. If I was just going to accumulate more and more facts, if that was going to be what I was going to be learning, facts about people and how they lived, what they did, what they lived, why they had certain ideas, how they developed their families and whatnot, was I just going to be getting more and more accumulation of facts? Or would there be a time when I would have a transformation, some kind of change that would be very deep and would happen to me all at once, in which I would change and have a different vision about what the world was all about? I remember having that early on. And I remember the first book that my wife gave me when we were dating was about Jewish rabbis, very, very deeply entrenched in the Jewish faith, because that's where I came from, the Jewish faith. Now there's a problem where in Israel, there's fighting with the Palestinians and a lot of pain and suffering going on, which is very sad for many people. But I think for many Jews also, that's very, very sad. It's a very sad thing to see other people wanting to hurt other people. And as we develop with Swami, that feeling enlarges, the compassion for other people enlarge. So I remember the first thing that Sharon gave me was a book about these enlightened men that brought other people, that could develop ceremonies and celebrations of love that brought people together, instead of having people fight each other and hurt each other. We're in a time right now where it's hard for people to believe that, where Swami has told some devotees from the Netherlands, I think from Denmark or someplace, I'm not quite sure, where he said there'll come a time when people will be so ferocious and upset with each other and angry with each other that everything will look dark. But don't be frightened of dirty dishwater. I'm just cleaning. Don't be worried about dirty water in the clothes. I'm just cleaning, because I'm behind everything that happens. There's nothing that I am not. I am every place at all times, everywhere, always. And all you're seeing is the dirty dishwater. I'm cleaning. And by 2035, that's the date I think is going to happen. By 2035, you'll see all the religions realizing that they're brothers and sisters. Only an expanded level of thinking can see a love that's that great, where all the religions have dropped out of that love because of time and circumstance and way of being, of talking to the developers of that religion for what is needed by the people of that time. So there seems to be some differences between the religions, but Swami tells us that all religions are the same. They extol good values. They say that a person that has a golden heart, that is pure of heart, that is free of bondage, is, even in the Vedas, considered the highest of the high. There's nothing greater, nothing greater. So focusing on the bondage and releasing yourself from bondage is a very holy undertaking, and realizing through it that we're something very great. We're not a drop. We're not a flake of froth. We're an ocean. We're all the cosmos and beyond. If you think about what science measures, and science has measured that there was a big bang, and out of that big bang came all of knowledge and all of creation. All of creation came out of the big bang. But spirituality doesn't just think of the big bang. It says, who's behind the big bang? What happened? Who is the father of the big bang? The mother of the big bang? That, when I was reading the Bhagavata, which is the story of young Krishna, was so powerful because Krishna says, I am the cause of all causes. That line struck me very, very deeply. I am the cause of all causes. I am the one that's behind the Big Bang. There is nothing but love. Nothing but love. Everything that is created comes from what we see in the mind. People disliking each other and being angry with each other and hating each other and disliking it, wanting to kill each other. Not good. Not good. No. We're students of Swamis, and we have to separate ourselves. We have to learn how to separate ourselves. It's hard for people that are right in the middle. For instance, somebody in our Thursday meetings, we have a Thursday meeting, and people can tune in. If people would like to tune in, we'd love all the young adults to tune in. It'd be wonderful to see anybody to turn in, because we're all the same. There's no difference, young adult, old adult, this and that. But we do think that young adults are going to inherit the world. And they're going to be the ones during the switch where there's a real transformation. They're going to be the ones that are going to be be given the task to have Swami's teaching expressed clearly enough so that we can understand it. Clearly enough so we can understand. So one time Jack Hislop was asked to give a talk to the Italians in one of the places where they stay at the ashram. And he was asked by Swami to come in afterward for a little lunch and to talk. And he remembers that Swami said, you did well, Hislop, until this man asked you this question. And he repeated it. And you said, and he repeated what he said. He repeated what Hislop had said. And Hislop he said, Swami, How were you there? You weren't there. I saw you. I knew where you were. You were not there. How did you hear? Did you come as Shiva? He said Ishwara. Ishwara is the God that presides over deep sleep. When you don't even remember any desire whatsoever. There's no desire. There's nothingness. Then there's the Turiya stage, where you're even aware of the deep sleep stage, the dream stage, and the wake stage. You're aware of all the stages, and they're all the same. Because you've reached the Turiya stage, you've reached the awareness of divinity, the love that precedes everything. So he said to Jack, I came as the infinite, non-dual divinity. I'm at all places at all times. That's how I came to you. And that's how I listened, and that's how I know what happened. And you should have asked, you should have stayed with this question this way, and you should have said it this way. I think he showed him how he should have acted. But the main thing for him was that I came to you as the infinite, every place at all times. That's how I came to you. I was there all the time, always. I'm always there with you. I'm always there. You just can't see me. You're not developed that much. You're not expanded that much. Your love isn't expanded that much. But there are people that can see me this way. And for people that can see me, he said in the messages, for people that can see me in the outer world, they see me as Daivi Prakriti. Daivi Prakriti was defined in the Bhagavad Gita as the luminant vision of love that motivates, it's the prime motivating force of the universe. And it can be seen as a luminant force field. It can be seen as a force field in the outer world. I don't know if it's something, it's luminescent because you can see it, because it lights up, or luminescent because you're aware of it. It's just something you're aware of. You become aware of that. But that is something that you can become aware of. And it can happen in the outer world. And it was said in the messages, and Swami told Jack Hislop that that's who he is. And Jack was told by Swami, you're going to be coming one more time. Jack said to Swami, but Swami, I have a wonderful life this time. I'm able to come to see you. I'm able to see you. I'm able to come anytime I want. And he was able to come even when he was very infirm. I drove him. I picked him up in Chula Vista and drove him to the airport. And then, not knowing if he would accept or not, I ordered a wheelchair for him to be picked up at the plane and wheeled to the next plane. And I asked Jack, is it okay that I did that? Because I was very worried. And Jack said, do you think I need it? I said, yes. And he said, okay. It just said like that, okay. Because I think he had an expanded way of understanding that was beyond you and me, thinking just there was you and me. There were times when he could see, but Swami says it should happen all the time, not just here and there, this and that, like when we're talking about it, but all the time.
Right.
So that's is it time? So do you have some questions that you want to ask me? Let me just see, because we have 3 minutes left.
Oh, the one question I have is, so based on your life experiences as a psychiatrist and also based on Swami's teachings, so what guidance would you give to individuals and families on staying united, peaceful, and on the right path during these turbulent times?
That's a very good question. Thank you so much for asking that question and even writing it down and showing me beforehand. So I knew that you were going to do it. I knew it. But what can I say? I can say that one time I was sitting on the porch and Swami came by me and he said something, but he said it very low and I couldn't hear it. And he said it in Telugu and I couldn't understand the language. So 2 strikes. I couldn't understand the language and he said so low I couldn't understand any word. But the person next to me heard it. And he told me, Swami will see you tomorrow. So I was very happy. And I went and told the children and told my wife, Swami will see us tomorrow. And so in the morning, everybody dressed in their fineries, the best saris that they had. Everything was pretty and so combed. Everything was so nice. They had nice dressing and nice hair and everything. And Swami didn't see us. We have to be ready for anything. We have to be ready for anything. But then in the afternoon, he called us in. And here, one of my daughters was wearing a punjab that was torn, and so she had it just pinned up with a pin. And she was embarrassed to go in to see Swami like this. But they all came like they were just invited. And they came in their saris and their punjabs. And so Swami looked at one daughter and said, and what is it that you'd like? Because right away, my first daughter said, Swami, how can we get closer to you? Because we love you so much. We want to get closer. And so Swami said, you say that, but you think Swami's not going to see me. I told you I was going to see you, but you say, Swami's not going to see me. Swami's not going to see me. You didn't have the ability to hold it enough for one day. You gave it up one day. So then he asked the twin daughter, and the twin asked the same question, just about the same. How do we get closer? And he said, you have to talk to me all the time and give me your pain. You have to talk to me all the time and give me your pain. And in the messages, it says that I'm going to have to go through some kind of suffering, some kind of sacrifice, just like everybody has to give up the idea that you're a body or that the world is real, to give that up for an expanded sense of love, that there's a creator of everything, no matter what, a creator of everything, and you're part of that. You're learning from the creator. That's who you're learning from. That is the thing that we have to learn most. We have to talk to Swami all the time. Even dream of Swami. One time Swami was giving a talk about himself. He was giving a talk about Krishna during Krishna's birthday. And then he had me and Bill Harvey in for a talk. And we were sitting around his chair. And he was talking about Radha. He said, Radha was so wonderful. What a great devotee. She thought of Krishna all the time. No time that she would not think of Krishna. Even when she was sleeping, she would dream of Krishna. That's all she had on her mind, every time, all the time. Only Krishna, 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 Krishna. She was such a wonderful devotee. And that's what I would tell everybody. It's very seldom that you can handle that. You can do that. It's only when people are talking about him sometimes we can get a feeling like that he is that great. But that's what we have to do. We have to talk to him all the time and give him our pain, because part of the idea of moving through life is the sacrifice, that there has to be some kind of sacrifice, even in the yajnas. But Swami says a yajna and the chanting of a mantra won't do it. The personal powers, becoming a chief of a bank or a chief surgeon, the highest surgeon that you could be, or anything in the world, your human powers will not do it. That's not going to do it. There's only one thing that'll do it, says Swami, and that is renunciation. Renunciation, detachment is very, very difficult. There's a suffering that goes along with it, a sacrifice that has to go along with it. And reaching down, becoming aware of our shortcomings, going to the thing that binds us and holds us to the world and to our physical bodies, knowing that that's what we have to do in order to try to release ourselves. And Swami has told us that that's a great thing. Learning to release ourselves is a wonderful thing. Knowing how to do it, trying to do it, even just trying is a great, great blessing. Just trying to do it. Just having in our mind that we're trying to reach for the bondage and to loosen it up so that we're not held by it, we're not caught by it, we're not trapped by it. Talk to him all the time and give him our pain. Give him the bondage. Run away from bad company. Try to do this the best we can. And Swami has told us that it's very, very, very important that we do that. That one time, Dr. Hislop asked Swami, do you think we should stop the centers? Because all we're having are people arguing with each other and fighting. There's a lot of fighting that's going on. And Swami said, he said something like this, but I don't know if it's the exact words. Are you crazy, Hislop? Are you out of your mind, Hislop? If it wasn't for my devotees who are just knowing this idea, who just are trying to get rid of the bondage, if it wasn't for these devotees, the world would be in terrible, terrible, much worse shape. No, the centers have to go on. The organization has to go on. But with unity, and there'll be a time when they'll be breaking into pieces. But you have to be a person that is strong enough, has love that's expanded enough to know that you're supposed to bring people together. That's what you're supposed to do. Help people learn that they're brothers and sisters, that they're part of divinity, and God, divinity, is your mother and your father. That's who your greatest parents are. That's it. Talk to him all the time and give him your pain. And that's what we should probably end with.
Wow, that was truly wonderful. We covered so much on, how we need to bring unity into our lives, and hearing the different experiences of, what you've had with Swami and how he transformed your life, as well as other prominent devotees like Dr. Hislop, Phyllis Crystal, and all those. It was truly a enriching and a very, I'd say one of the most beautiful Sai Talks episodes I've ever had. So on behalf of all the viewers, I would like to thank you, Dr. Samuel Sandweiss, for being our guest on the 11th episode of Sai Talks.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful pleasure. And I hope that all the young adults have listened very closely, and all the young students of Swami, because we're all young. We're just born. And
Absolutely.
Swami, that's it. We hold on to Swami's hands. Thank you so much. So good. So good to be with you.
Same here.
Sai.